special report. Tallahassee, Florida. In a series of events that have reignited the debate over the death penalty, 4 inmates have been executed in Florida this year. These executions took place at several Florida prisons throughout the state. The first inmate put to death was Donald Dillbeck. He was sentenced to death in 1991 for fatally stabbing Faye Vann in a Tallahassee parking lot following his escape from state custody. On January 23, DeSantis ordered Dilbeck's execution. For killing a Florida police officer as a juvenile, he was already serving a life sentence. Dilbeck was executed on February 23, following the denial of his petitions for relief by the Florida Supreme Court. 7 weeks after approving the execution of Dilbeck, DeSantis signed the death warrant for Louis Bernard Gaskin. Gaskin was sentenced to death row in 1991 after being convicted of first-degree murder for murdering Georgette and Robert Sturmfels in Flagler County in a random attack while wearing an all-black suit, earning him the moniker, Ninja Killer. His execution was set for April 12 at Rayford State Prison. Then on April 3, DeSantis issued a third death warrant, this time for 56-year-old Daryl B Barwick, who was pronounced deceased at 6:14 p.m. Wednesday, May 5. A lethal injection was administered at Florida State Prison. In 1986, the 56-year-old was convicted of first-degree murder for stabbing a 24-year-old woman 37 times. He was sentenced to death. Earlier in the day, the U.S. Supreme Court denied his final appeal for a stay of execution. According to the office of Governor Ron DeSantis, Dwayne Owen was pronounced deceased at 6:14 p.m. on Thursday, June 15, following a lethal injection at Florida State Prison. Owen, one of Florida's longest-held death row inmates, was 23 years old at the time of the assaults and 62 years old at the time of his execution. Owen was sentenced to death for the rape and fatal stabbing of Karen Slattery, 14, on March 24, 1984, and for the rape and fatal hammer attack on Georgiana Worden, 38, 2 months later. Both murders took place in Palm Beach County. According to authorities, Owen attacked 2 other women who survived, in Palm Beach County. All 4 attacks happened right before Owens turned 23. These executions have reignited the controversial discussion surrounding the use of the death penalty. Supporters argue that these executions are a just punishment for the heinous offenses committed by the condemned, as well as a deterrent for potential offenders. They emphasize that these individuals were deemed guilty by a court of law and that they had exhausted all legal appeals. However, death penalty opponents contend that capital punishment violates human rights and that the risk of executing an innocent person is too great. Alternative forms of punishment, such as life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, should be pursued instead of the death penalty, they argue. As the debate persists, Florida remains one of the leading states in the United States when it comes to the death penalty. Recent executions have once again brought the divisive issue to the forefront, guaranteeing that the death penalty will continue to be a topic of discussion for the foreseeable future. Follow us for more.